The Battlefield 6 pseudo-open beta is here, and we've been playing it. I spent most of the night last night playing it with friends, and it's a good time so far. It's a little unstable on my end, but others reported it was running great, other than the times that servers crashed on us or we couldn't stay in a lobby. The official release date isn't until October, and the open beta is set to eventually come to a close. And with them setting up a steep price tag of $70 US, I might sit on this one for a little bit until the price comes down and the patches come out. After all, even going back as far as Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2, Battlefield Vietnam, Battlefield Heroes, on and on, the first 6 months of a Battlefield release are buggy messes, and then the patches drop and more patches. Eventually it becomes a pretty solid experience. So what would I recommend to tide us over? Either till release or till the price drops to 60 or below? Well, let's get into it. Now, keep in mind, the games in this list gonna share some elements of the Battlefield franchise that I enjoy. They're not all gonna be your cup of tea, and they may not all be Battlefield particular genre-defining games. Of course, you could just go back and play the older Battlefield titles, and that's fine. I'm not gonna put them on this list, or this would just be a Battlefield prior games list. Well, I guess you could go back and play the ones that EA hasn't just killed the servers for because they suck, and live servers and live service games pretty much suck these days because they can just kill your game. Can't play Battlefield Vietnam, can we? Nope. Battlefield Heroes, that's gone. That was a fun third-person shooter. Nope, all dead. EA even killed the player-hosted servers for Battlefield 2142 that we spotlighted ages ago. Because they hate fun. If anybody's played Squad, they knew this one was coming. It's literally spawned from the devs working on Battlefield 2 mods back in the day, particularly Project Reality. Talk about that later. Squad is a Battlefield game just like Battlefield, but it's more about teamwork, slow, tactical play, communication, which the primary Battlefield franchise has gotten farther and farther away from as the years have gone by. If you really hate Battlefield 6's fast-paced run-and-gun, almost COD-like feeling of gunplay, then Squad might be more your style. Players play classes, each with unique skill sets, which you'd recognize from Battlefield. They can build FOBs to make spawn points, drive all sorts of vehicles in a large open map. They actually have a commander like Battlefield 2. There's a built-in voice comm system so that you can talk to the local area around you, talk up the chain of command to the commander for your squad leader, and talk between the squad leaders and the squad members of your squad. So it's got a little bit of that almost Arma teamwork vibe if you play with the TeamSpeak plugins. It's also got a kick-ass modding community with hands down one of the best Star Wars mods out, period. Galactic Contention. I've spotlighted this like 6 years ago on the channel, and it's still cool. I don't know what happened to that old 40K one that was in the works. I hope that still is happening. Or maybe it's already come out. I haven't been deep into the Squad scene in a bit. I need to get back into it. Speaking of Project Reality, that's still playable. To my surprise, PR is still going. We used to play this. This is actually the best experience from Battlefield that I had ever had back in the day. It had far more variety. It was built on top of Battlefield 2. It still had the command system. It brought in more of the tactics. You could do just all kinds of crazy stuff in this, and yet it still took on a more realistic vibe. It leaned more into what I think Battlefield 2 did the best, which was feeling like an actual teamwork game and not a run and gun. I've had 6 cups of coffee before the battle and now I'm twitching out and jumping through windows style of gameplay that we see with Battlefield 6. Old man yells at clouds. Continuing on. Arma 3, Arma Reforger. Okay, we had to say Arma in here, right? This is the milsim of milsims that is spawned genres of games. It started with Operation Flashpoint.
As the only NATO presence in the area, it is our job to respond. The choppers are waiting to ferry you to Everett,
which I played and made tons of operations for. So much fun there. And now it's still there. Armco, our community, even has its own unit that runs weekly events and training. They do Star Wars events for charity every year. It's very, very cool. It's called Fourth Bat. I highly recommend you guys go over there and check it out. It's one of the steeper games to get into because you're gonna have to figure out all the mods and stuff, which isn't that hard, but it is a little bit of a hill to climb. But once you climb it, it's a lot of fun. Mr. Wasted Space, one of our community leaders, one of the streamers that I run Armco with, has actually been running an Anastasi game. So there's always something happening with Arma eventually, like 3 or 4 times a year, it seems, inside Armco, that isn't even based on that Armco group. Let's keep going. If we're looking for free shooters that you just want to play for an evening or a weekend, you can't go wrong with Planetside 2. It has its issues, I know, and I played a lot of it. A lot of Planetside 2 back in the day. 3 factions fighting over a planet. It's still really impressive how many players they managed to get onto those maps. the combined arms elements, flying around, driving the tanks. I still love the Sunday system where you deploy a truck and everybody can respawn from it, and that's where you have to go and take it out. There are a lot of things we all wish they had done with Planetside 2. Hell, I wish they would just open up the code so we could actually have modders run it, because that would be amazing and bring back a huge number of community. But anyways, Planetside 2, it's there, it's free, you can find it over on Steam, download it. Oh man. SOE, I swear, they've made so many MMOs that I absolutely love, but I just absolutely look at and I just feel this twinge of pain of like what could have been. Looking at you, Star Wars Galaxies. Anyways, Foxhole! If you like the teamwork, the war struggle of actual context to your battles instead of just round to round looking for a level ding and an unlock, that new scope or barrel or magazine for your weapon, but you actually want context to the fight, then Foxhole's your game. It's a top-down title, and it does not play like a Battlefield game, but it does have the elements of teamwork, of communication, if you're, playing with friends, and honestly, just playing with randos, far more than you'd ever get in a Battlefield game. It's been a while, and now they're coming out with, in the next major update, aircraft is gonna be made, and is made, by players. There's a whole logistical back end if you wanna just support the front line. It's very cool. There's some dedicated groups of players out there. We even, again, Armco being an awesome community, have a group that run a Foxhole unit in that game if you wanna check it out. It's kind of something that I thought we would have in the Battlefield franchise when 1942 dropped, because the claim to fame of that game was large-scale conflict. 64 players fighting over this map, and honestly, Conquest mode was a fun mode, but I always thought it was just a limitation of the technology and not where we would be for the next 30 years of Battlefield games, where it's still the peak thing that we did back in 2002 is still the game mode everybody looks at to want to play in Battlefield. Instead of pushing some kind of new mechanics, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Moving on, I'm gonna throw a funny one on here, Dagger Directive, and only because I played Battlefield 1942 back in the day, and I played a game called Delta Force. This would actually been slightly before Battlefield came out, the first game came out, but Dagger Directive is kind of a love letter to an old game called Delta Force, not the new one that you've probably been seeing on the front page of Steam. An old one. This is before we had a sprint button. This is before, I don't even think it has a jump button. It might, actually. I don't think the original Delta Force did that. But it's get a few friends together, you pick out your equipment, you choose your mission, and then you go. PvE, it's a fun time, and it's cheap, 20 bucks. It's early access. I played a little bit of it, I was like, this is super nostalgia. So if you're old man like me, you might enjoy Dagger Direct. It might tide you over. Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. It's Battlefield Vietnam, but not dead because EA killed it in a back alley somewhere. Literally, jump in, get your FPS on, crank Fortunate Son on your second monitor. This just ends up in my rotation each year eventually. One of the cool things about this though is the factions are fun because they're very asymmetrical. And you'd think so for a Vietnam game. The only better Vietnam experience that I've had is through a specific Arma 3 DLC called Prairie Fire and a hosted community server by our local badass Mr. Wasted Space. So, again, Arma 3 can do this for you too, but there's a little bit more setup and you probably should get some friends together. And the missions are quite difficult. Rising Storm, multiplayer, round-based, still good time. If you're all about the teamwork aspect and not the twitchy FPS teabagging fest of PvP that Battlefield kind of has become, then maybe look away from PvP and look at a large-scale cooperative game like Starship Troopers Extermination. Now, the community on this one has gotten a lot smaller, but even early morning on a weekday, there's still 340 people playing right now. And it's online, right? So they're all playing probably in the same servers. Large-scale cooperative game, you're playing as the mobile infantry, fighting the bugs. You get to do some base building. They've added a bunch of new content that I haven't yet to play, and I still need to go back and get into it. But yeah, Extermination, fight the bugs. You could go play Helldivers, but it's only 4 players versus Starship Troopers Extermination, which is a ton more. And they've got a class system that's recently gotten reworked. So there's some new unlocks and whatnot in there. Looks kind of cool. If you're all about that campaign gameplay, right? You're really excited to get in and play that single player of Battlefield. Why are you looking at a Battlefield game, for one thing? The campaigns have never been particularly good, except Stop Thy Rage. Oh, nerd herd, I understand. Bad Company 1 and 2 were a really good time, and I absolutely agree. And I'm actually gonna recommend those. If you want a Battlefield campaign that doesn't suck, then you can get on Steam, you can pick up Battlefield or Bad Company 2. Great. Titanfall 2 though, got really screwed on its release. They released next to another large-scale first-person shooter and just kinda didn't make the impact that they needed to. I feel like they would have if they would just had a little bit of space for their release, but it is a really good campaign, and it's got really solid mechanics. It also plays surprisingly well on the Steam Deck. If you're interested, you get a little almost MechWarrior 5 mixed with Call of Duty Battlefield combat, and you can run on walls, and you got a little jetpack because you're a pilot. Quite neat. And hey, silly cheap. It's like $6 right now. And I don't think that's even on sale. I can't do a video like this without mentioning if you've never played it, but it's really hard to recommend. It's Star Wars Battlefront 2 Classic. And when I say it's hard to recommend, also modded, this would be the modded variation. Why I say it's hard to recommend isn't because it isn't a great game, a classic that you could play if you enjoy the Star Wars titles like I do. One, the campaign is fun. The voice work that's done in the campaign, telling the story of the 501st, is just awesome, right? It's great. You probably even heard it used in other videos and lore YouTubers bullshit on YouTube. I do recommend it. The reason I find it hard to recommend is because they keep releasing games with the same name that are so much worse. They did a remastered version of this last year, or early this year. Time is weird. And it was buggy, it was broken, people were not able to stay connected to servers. It's got a horrible review score over on Steam. Just ignore it. You don't need their bullshit remaster. You can just pick up Star Wars Battlefront 2 Classic, which at the moment of recording this is like $10. I've seen it as low as $2. I even think they gave it away for a little while in one of the packs. It gets crazy cheap, but still, $10 is, I'd say, worth it if you want to jump in with some friends. It's still got people playing the multiplayer. There is a remaster mod that I will put a link to from Harrison Fogg makes it, and he used to make it. I don't know if he still runs that mod team, but it's good stuff. It's fun times, and I recommend it. If you guys have a, hey, don't pick up the game at $70, or hey, wait until the patches come out, what would you recommend to a friend if you were telling them that? What game that fits? It doesn't have to be a Battlefield clone. Just has to, like, scratch that itch of what a Battlefield game is, what the fun brain chemicals that it kicks off. It's like, yes, this is what I like about this. What would you guys recommend? I look forward to reading the comments on this one because it's such a huge variety of games that it could be. It could be unlocked systems for weapons. It could be certain map types. It might even not be multiplayer, right? I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, everybody. Does anybody else remember when this game used to be about combined arms? I mean, 1942 had a freaking submarine at the end of the trailer, for crying out loud. It didn't have a single infantry model in the entire trailer. All right, bye guys.